Hey there, Wolfpack fans. It's me again, Kenton Gibbs, bringing you another episode of Locked On Wolfpack. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about some of the recent activity that we have seen out of the transfer portal, a lot of our men's basketball team. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the players who came in, and I have a message for the loud minority again. Most of Wolfpack Nation can ignore it because you all are fantastic. There are very few fan bases that can compete with Wolfpack Nation in terms of passion, in terms of spirit, in terms of loyalty. But there's just a little bit of housekeeping that we have to do in order to stay that fan base that is realistic with ourselves, that is honest with ourselves, but that's also respectful and hopeful for our teams, and to some degree, rather.
You are Locked On Wolfpack, your daily podcast on the NC State Wolfpack, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
So, folks, Coach Kevin Keatts he's been doing work in the portal, and in the last 2 days, we've seen 2 commitments by some players that, I think that one is a good rotational piece. I think the other is one of the most underrated guys coming out of the portal this year. So we're going to go in chronological order here. The young man that signed up first is Jack Clark, a 6'8", 200-pound guard. Now, naturally, with that type of length, he gives you value defensively and in rebounding. His offensive game ain't bad. It's not bad. It's nothing to scoff at and just say, oh, this is terrible. He can't do anything good for us. Let's be honest with ourselves. After last year, anybody can do something good for us. After the movement that we have seen out of this year's or last year's team, any live body is willing to come in and work hard, buy into the system, do all the things. It's great for us. It's great for us. So, like I said, Jack Clark out of LaSalle, he's a guy that I want to say was averaging about 12 points last year. And, averaged 12 points, 6 rebounds, and 1.6 assists last year. He was not the most efficient shooter. He was not. So there's a limitation there. Doesn't have the quickest feet in the world, so that's another problem. And has a tendency to turn the ball over a little bit. Had more turnovers than assists last year. So this is not – I'm not, y'all know me. No fluff pieces, no hit pieces. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you, oh, man, we should be ready for a national championship run now. No, that's not the case. But Jack Clark is still a quality piece. He's still a piece that, again, even if you're not talking about a team like NC State or a team that finished last in the conference, let's just talk about it. Even if you're not talking about a team that finished last in the conference, you're still looking at a team that he could bring some things to as a guard or a wing. Okay, so with the system that Coach Keatts wants to run defensively, with that pressing style, with that, 3/4 court, sometimes full court pressure, having guys who are long, who can affect ball handlers, that's essential. And that is what this team is getting in Jack Clark. So this is a good thing. This is a good thing at the end of the day. Him coming to this team, it's a good thing. Nobody should be upset or angry or anything about this pickup because, again, it is a pickup. And at the end of the day, that is what we're looking for more than anything at this point in time. We can discuss whether or not these pickups are good pickups or not once we have enough to soundly say, oh, yeah, we got a team. And I want to talk very quickly about how a lot of people are saying, well, you can't just use this is the way the game is now as a scapegoat for, guys not sticking around or whatever the case may be. Or I struggle with that because if you look around the country, if you look at some of the best teams in the country, if you look at teams that were in the Elite Eight and Final Four, right? Or Elite Eight, rather, you're looking at Texas Tech, you're looking at Arkansas, 2 teams that went very deep in the tournament. 2 teams that were built predominantly with transfers. 2 teams built predominantly with transfers that were very deep in the tournament. So what does that tell you? And neither one of those teams were double-digit seeds to where they were the Cinderella of the tournament. Both of those teams were teams that people had possibly having success in the tournament. So what does it tell you? That those teams had the success that they had. It's possible to achieve success through the portal. And not only is it possible, it is in some ways the new reality of basketball. It is a lie to say, well, look at the University of No Consequences. They're getting a lot of guys to stay behind. Good for them. That's the exception, not the rule. That's the exception, not the rule. And if you're saying, well, we want to be the rule, we want to get to that. They're sure with NIL and all that, there are ways to make that happen. But even still, it's an incredibly tall task. It just is. It just is. This is not what it was before, where if a player is leaving, they have to sit out for an ample amount of time and they have to really miss a year and work out and risk potential injury and all that for transfer. This isn't that anymore. And heck, even if players are transferring a second or third time because of their coaches getting fired, this is not the world that many people who have the opinion of, oh yeah, well, we should just hold on to, or we should just figure out ways to keep players. This is not the world y'all are used to. Most of the people I have seen with that take they got into college basketball when not only transferring was a difficult thing, one and dones weren't a thing. I'm telling you, as sure as the sun rises on the east and sets on the west, this is not going to be a problem at quote unquote bad schools, or this is not going to be a thing that only struggling schools go through. If you believe that hey, I had some magic beans for you that's going to grow you a stalk that is going to reach the land of giants, no matter where on earth you put them as well. Wherever on earth you put them, it'll reach the land of the giants, because we're just believing fairy tales here. I'm trying to tell you what it is, what it ain't, what it could be, and what it can't. That's what I'll always do for you. So with that in mind, we should be respectful of the fact that at the end of the day, Coach Keatts is getting good gets. At the end of the day, the turnover that we're seeing, remember now, and this is not just NC State, the entire ACC as a whole saw, I want to say it was about 40% turnover in terms of players from one year to the next. I want to say it was last year. I don't think the turnover numbers are officially done this year, but last year I believe it was about 40%. 40%, nearly half. This is the reality that we live in now. This is the reality. And if we want to delude ourselves by saying, well, listen, it's just Keatts. It's just Keatts. He's just so terrible. You can do that. You can do that. But in your chastising of Keatts, in your saying what he can't do and of his limitations, I would just ask that you look around the conference, look around the country, look around all the college sports. Tell me what you see. Tell me what you see. I'm betting that even at some of the highest level of programs, even at some of the best programs in the nation, you'll see some of the same things. You'll see players who are up. I was here for a year. I didn't get the playing time I wanted. I'm disgruntled. Oh, I was here for a year. I got all the playing time I wanted, but me and the coach never set horses. I'm disgruntled. And they go on. They go on and go elsewhere. That's the reality. That's the reality. And that's the new world. And again, if you have evidence to the contrary, present it to me. I am open. Anybody who knows me knows I am very open to changing my opinion when new information is presented. But the information that I have, the information that I'm working with at the moment is telling me the reality is what it is, regardless of what we want it to be. The reality of teams sticking together, you have a core group of guys for 3 to 4 years. When Sebron Hayes and Shaq Moore were doing their thing 2 years ago, I said to everybody, if these three can stay together, we will be a powerhouse going forward. That's not something that I am like, oh yeah, it's possible. No, I knew of that. But I said that the if was a pretty big if. And that's the reality. And like I said, if you think that the transferring is a Keatts problem, look around the rest of the country, tell me what you find. I'm betting that you find very similar things to what's going on with Keatts elsewhere. And speaking of bets, if you are a bettor, go to betonline.net. BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting stats and sports info. Find all of the latest sports development, league reviews, and news, including this year's basketball playoffs and the start of Major League Baseball season. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information, for live betting to playoffs, esports, and more. Head to the website today to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. So, folks, another player that has committed to NC State is Jarkel Joyner. Jarkel Joyner it's tough to describe, because when I say he's one of the most underrated players in the transfer portal this year, many people will not believe me. Many people will not believe, and I'm okay with that. I really don't care. If you watch him play, if you really deeply examine who he was for that Ole Miss team, you will very quickly see I'm not lying to you. Not only was this man their leading scorer, he was efficient. He was efficient. He had nearly a 2-to-1 turnover to assist to turnover ratio. This man shot, I want to say it was about 34 or 35% from deep, 40% from the floor, 80% from the free throw line. I am telling you, he is better than what his numbers say. Not only is he better than what his numbers say, I think that he's going to have a huge impact right away. Huge impact. Huge impact. The fact of the matter is, one of our biggest problems was we did not have guards. One of our biggest problems in this last year, we did not have guards who could make very basic entry passes. It was a problem. We did not have guards who could penetrate, cause disruption, cause the defense to have to over-rotate or whatever the case may be, and kick out and find open guys. We didn't have guards that could do that. The best player on our team at that was Darian C. Brown, who's a wing. We not only is that a problem because C. Brown started to wear down toward the end of the season and you could see it, but also our guards not only weren't great at penetrating and kicking to find open guys, they weren't great at shooting either. They just were not. So you do the math for me, okay? You make your wing the guy who penetrates and kicks, okay? Your wing does so. He does so amazingly, okay? He kicks out to a mediocre or worse shooter. What is the result? The first 20-loss season in program history. It's just that simple. So I think that Joyner is an underrated piece, absolutely underrated. And this is a situation where I'm going to say this to a lot of folks. Again, it's a lot of folks out there, but you are the minority. I don't know why people are complaining about either one of these gets from Keatts. I really don't. Especially Joyner. Especially Joyner. First of all, with the amount of bodies that we need to field a darn team, nobody should be saying anything about a scholarship going to a ball player who has proven they can play at a high level. Nobody should. That's where we start this thing. Then moving forward, if you want to be mad at Jack Clark and that, I disagree with you. I think you're wrong. I think that you're not very. I don't. You'd have to fully understand that position. You'd have to fully explain it, rather. You'd have to fully explain that position to me for me to possibly consider seeing where you're coming from. However, Joyner, I don't know. And I'm just realizing the way I wrote that caption, it looks like Dynamo is part of his name. It's not. I got stuck between combo guard and scoring Dynamo. don't worry about that. That's another story for another time. And if you're listening to this instead of watching on YouTube, this is me going through the paces of a mistake I made on screen. But anyway, I don't know what more you would really want out of the guards. I don't. We asked for guards who could take care of the ball. He does so. We asked for guys who are not afraid of the big moment, not afraid to take the shot. He hung 33 on Alabama last year. 33. Had more, okay, we talk about being able to make simple entry passes and what is Coach Keatts is a lot better when he has a guard like Markel Johnson who can find ways to draw defenses in and distribute. This young man had more turnovers than assists twice last season. Twice. Because I know the 2-to-1 turnover to assist to turnover ratio doesn't really move certain people. Sure. Okay. I am telling you, not only is this man a prolific scorer, he's a better ball handler and passer than many people would think. He's very undersized, so that comes with certain defensive liabilities, even though he is pretty good on that end as well. I'm just going to tell you, he's not a bad defender by any stretch of the imagination, so much so that some people are even talking about him for his defensive prowess. I'm telling you, this man is underrated, criminally underrated. And now, again, if folks are upset with Coach Keatts and feel like he can't get the job done, I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that. I'm not mad at you for feeling that way. Why are you expressing it so loudly to everybody who can hear you, to anybody who can hear you? Why? Why? I get it. You don't believe in Keatts. Okay. Well, guess what? Come tip next season, guess who's likely going to be our coach? Unless there's a situation of catastrophic failure, something goes terribly wrong, where there's a horrible accident. Guess who's going to be our head coach? Coach Kevin Keatts. That's as simple as I can put it. That's all if I'm lying, I'm flying. That's probably going to be our head coach. While this is our head coach, support him. And am I saying that you can't critique him? No. I have critiqued Coach Keatts. I will continue to. When he shows, all right, like I can't defend this. I'll say that. Again, ask anybody, have you ever heard me defend that timeout with Darian Sebron driving the ball down 1 point against Florida State in the PNC? Ask anybody who knows me, anybody who listens to the show. If you've got the clip, I promise you, I'll pay you my next 5 checks. My next 5 will be yours. If you can find me a clip of me saying that decision was a good one, I promise you I will. You know why I'm so confident in that? Because I haven't. I'm okay with critiquing these coaches. Again, there's not a single coach that I have not critiqued. The winningest coach out of all of our 4 major North American coaches, or 4 major North American sport coaches, or revenue generators, or whichever way you like to slice it, even though all of them are revenue generated, but that's another story for another time. Wes Moore. Everybody loves Wes Moore. Got us to the first Elite 8 in decades, right? Did I not give him criticism for things that he does wrong? Is that not a thing? Is that not a thing? Again, I'm not making nothing up. I'm not telling y'all nothing goofy or nothing crazy. I'm all right with critiquing Keatts. I'm not all right with everything that he does. You just need to comment the negative. Who does that help? And very seriously, this is another question I have. Trust me, I want y'all to interact with me. Who does it help? Who? Tell me. News breaks that we get a really good player out of the transfer portal, and your first thought is, oh my God, I don't care. Keatts still can't win. Who does it help? Explain to me. What do you think the future players are thinking when they see that as one of the top comments on State getting a really good player? Oh, well, it's only because of the coach. No. That doesn't make sense because you're not even talking about a coach doing an objectively negative thing. You're not talking about a coach doing a thing that deserves vitriol. You're not talking about a situation that could logically or rightfully lead to that. You're talking about getting a good player. That is something that, regardless of where your coach is, national champion, dead last in the nation, that is something to be celebrated. And yet some folks can't do that. I'm getting too close to the camera. I'm sorry, y'all. Some folks can't do that. For those folks, I've already told you what my advice is to you for the rest of the offseason. Go do something else. Go look at something else. Go stop paying attention. This pen is killing me. Stop paying attention to NC State sports. Stop it. Stop it. Save yourself and all of Wolfpack Nation some time. Save us all some energy. Go do something else. I went fishing for the first time in quite some time with or not for the first time in quite some time. I've never been fishing. That was my first time ever fishing. Went fishing with some men from my church. Go fishing. I'm sure that there's plenty of good catches out there on whatever lake you're near to go do that. Go get play video games. Take up craftsmanship. I don't know. Just go do something. Because you are not helping the situation in any way. If you have zero confidence in Keatts to be able to win, that is fine. I am not going to rail you for that or say you're a horrible, sure, whatever. But at the end of the day, this is who we have for now. And have I not told y'all, Luther Vandross did not get this wrong. If you can't be with the one you love the one you're with. Love the one you're with. That's all. That's it. And at the moment, you should definitely be loving on Jack Clark and Jarkel Joyner. You should be loving on them, period. There's no excuse or reason or logic or rhyme that you can excuse. Well, I needed to comment that Keatts is terrible under posts about getting them because I needed to comment, well, we can't get any good recruits because what's not clicking? What's not clicking? We pick up players out the portal and the first thing you have to say is, oh my God, these are nobodies. What do you think that does to the next player coming up? I'm done. I'm off it. Like I said, go do something else. Go find something more productive to do with your time because that's not it. That is objectively not it. So we're about to land this thing. But with that being said, again, Jack Clark, 6'8", 200-pound guard. He's kind of a wing, bit of a tweener between the two. Really good on the board, something that we've had problems with and struggled with since Keatts has been here, addressing that problem. And Jarkel Joyner, a guy who, again, I think is a huge get. I think is very underrated. I think that he is a lot in the mode of some really good point guards that we've seen in my time in being in Wolfpack Nation, in that he can create his own shot. He can play make. He can make ways for other folks to get open. He can make the basic entry passes that, for whatever reason, have seemed to be the hardest task in America for some of our guards that have been here recently. So I'm excited about it. And again, if you are feeling like there's nothing Keatts can do right, and anytime he or the basketball team is mentioned, you're going to say something negative or you got to talk about how bad things are, fine. But I'll just ask, go try out restaurants. Go become a foodie for the rest of this offseason and next season. Go. I don't really know what you should do. I don't care. Go do something else because it's getting ridiculous. It really and truly is. And these players, they don't deserve that. Again, even if you hate Keatts with everything in your core, every fiber of your being hates Keatts. If he's got 1,000 haters, you're one of them. If he's got one hater, you're that one. If he's got no haters, that means that you have gone on to join the ancestors. Okay, go do something else. If that's you, if you're that guy, gal, or non-binary, if you're that person, go on and do something else.
You are Locked On Wolfpack, your daily podcast on the NC State Wolfpack, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.